Hi, my friends. Welcome to Sort of Brilliant, a show where the characters are made up and the sorting absolutely does matter. My name is Rachel.
And I'm her best friend and co-host, Lauren. Every other week, we're going to invade a fandom and determine whether your favorite character belongs in Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, or Slytherin.
We're the Harry Potter podcast that talks way more about any other franchise.
Here, we use the sorting structure from Harry Potter as a common language without supporting the author or her beliefs. As for the sorting itself, there's bound to be some arguments along the way.
But in the end, we're always right.
According to us.
According to us.
Get in, losers. We're done sorting. Did you
Beautiful.
Like that?
I loved it.
That?
I loved it.
I'm not sick. I feel like I sound sick. I'm immediately defensive about this. Do not accuse me or suspect me of illness. I'm fine. I already had COVID and the flu, so this
at the same time.
So this is a very healthy episode.
It's our first episode of season 4, 2024.
What the hell?
I know. Can you believe we've been doing this for that long? I can't either.
It just keeps
it's mind-boggling to me that we continue to be able to have conversations with each other.
But we're going to talk anyway, so it's like you might as well.
Right? Why not?
You know, we're going to talk about this stuff whether or not people are listening. So we might as well just record it for posterity, and then we can go back in like 20 years and be like, remember?
Part of the public record.
Yeah.
One day historians.
Lauren is an archivist at heart, so yeah.
One day historians will look back.
Well, we're not recording it in the new year, but Happy New Year anyway.
Almost the new year.
Hopefully. I hope like a giant rock asteroid doesn't hit us before this can be published. But assuming no asteroid has hit Earth, Happy New Year.
Jinx us like that.
I said it so it won't happen.
Oh, okay, that's true. It is January 2nd, if all went well.
Yay! We're back to work.
Fuck, you're right.
Schools are reopened.
No.
Shit. You know, next year, though, I looked at the next year calendar, and it's like
the leap year next year.
We don't go back till like a Wednesday or Thursday.
Go back.
If they respect the New Year's Eve and New Year's Day.
Thursday is when you go back.
Oh, man. That is fantastic. So, looking forward to 2025, but 2024 is off to a great start. Mostly because we decided to do some really fun episodes for the month of January, starting with Mean Girls. It's just one of those things where it's like, why haven't we talked about this one yet? And
seriously,
the upcoming things that we're going to be sorting as well. Yeah. It's like, we haven't done those yet?
Yeah. Well,
we've discussed them.
I don't mind telling people
recording.
It's like 2000s girl movie month or whatever you want to call it.
Hell the fuck, yeah.
Yeah.
We've been talking a little bit lately about like 2004 was kind of an unmatched year cinematically. It's weird. I feel like all of those types of movies are just dead. Like, they're trying to revive it.
You know what I heard?
It's not working.
That Sydney Sweeney movie with the guy from the Netflix movie.
Anyone But You.
Yeah, they were like, I saw so many trailers where people were making fun of it because they were like, it looks like, and it did, to be frank, look like it was going to suck. And then somebody was like, they didn't advertise that this is Much Ado About Nothing. It's literally a Shakespeare adaptation.
Yeah, isn't that
I
funny?
was like, I would have been all over it whether or not it was bad because that's my favorite play.
Right.
And teen Shakespeare adaptations are like the best thing to happen to this world.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I was going, where I was like, I feel like they're trying to bring it back with stuff like Anyone But You, but I don't know how well it's going to do.
They didn't tell us. Right. Just like
there's all this discourse about like they're ashamed of the target audience. They're
ashamed of musicals. They're like, we don't want to, because they were this article just came out where they're like, the trailers for Wonka and Mean Girls do not say that they're musicals because they're like, we found that people that when targeted at people who don't like musicals, they won't go. Well, fucking duh, they won't go see it. So they're trying to trick you. I don't know. Whatever. This was also kind of facilitated by the fact that that Mean Girls musical movie is coming out, which I'm very excited about. And Rachel and I were talking yesterday about how the original Mean Girls captures millennial high school experiences so perfectly.
Really well.
And I expect that this musical is probably going to get Gen Z right in the gut. So
for me, it was millennial middle school.
Yeah.
I wasn't quite in high school yet, but it was very
I was in fourth grade when Mean Girls came out. But when I reached middle school, high school, nothing had changed. It was still that way. Yeah.
It pretty much fit. And I mean, my high school experience was not quite like it. My middle school certainly was. And Yeah, I like to think that maybe people learn from it.
My sixth grade was quite like mean. It was very cliquey.
Sixth grade was the worst year.
Yeah,
I don't know what that is.
Grade. Yeah,
people like to say seventh grade. For me, it was sixth.
Sixth was me
this
too.
This was like demonic.
Yep.
Oof.
It's very ostracized for no reason.
To get me through, so. She was great. I will never forgive them for not rebooting that. That's like the worst mistake they've ever made. That was going to be great.
Well,
but we'll always have 2004 classics like Mean Girls. It was just a good year. It was just a good year for movies. A lot came out that year. But this one really stands up as still actually being pretty funny. Really well acted. It is. Really well written.
And Just Friends, when I was like, you know, how many times Regina uses the R word or somebody uses the R word, and I'm like, oh, like you get that shock to your system. But it's like one of those problematic movies that's like problematic. It's frozen in time problematic. So you're like, this was 2004. Or like, I think Just Friends was around that same time too, because it's 18 years old now, right? So yeah, it's like, this is, we must consider the context of the time.
Yeah, it's very common of that time period. It was very much in the vernacular of kids.
It's like when you watch Sex and the City and they're talking about...
For sure, that's why everyone was like looking through Travis Kelce's old tweets to expose him, and he like used the R word once or whatever. He was like, some girls are ugly. Like, that's pretty tame for how dudes were talking to me in fucking 2009. But all right, like they were way worse than that. It was not a very kind time vocabulary wise.
No.
So we've evolved and we've moved on. But yeah, it's pretty well preserved in shit like Mean Girls. That really is how it's wild that's how we all just talk to each other and how people spoke to you. Like, and it was fine. Because now
it's
you're
normal
like,
vernacular. Yeah.
What? Just totally accepted and cool.
Well, you can kind of see that through Cady. Because when Regina's like, shut up, she's like, I didn't say anything. Like, that's literally how he would be now. Like, what?
What are you talking like that? Yeah, but it's so funny to look back on shit like that and be like, dude, you talk to kids today, they'd be like, that's fucked up. Why are you talking to each other like that? I don't know, man.
They talk to each other other ways, though. Like, I was just watching like the real young kids, like sixth graders or whatever, telling their sister, who was probably like 22 or 23, so like early millennial, about like the new slang. And they were like,
slay is out.
Yeah, slay is out. Or like, and you're not supposed to say, no, but I can't remember what it is now. Preppy like means something totally different to them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do you mean? It's a word that means something. What are you talking about?
You're not rewriting. Like, come on. Certain things fucking mean things. Yeah, but they, the Riz. The Riz, fucking Riz. And they're the Rizzler. Like, guys, just, you know. What am I going to say? I remember using really, really dumb fucking words in 2008. And I mean.
Oh, I heard some kid in a TikTok recently say TY, and I was like, don't do that. It's for thank you. But yeah. Like, what?
Wow. All right. I don't know. And then it was also regional slang too, because like a lot of New York slang stayed. So we'll still say like it's mad brick outside and it's fucking cold. And that's just, I still hear people say brick for cold. And deadass has never left a New Yorker's vocabulary. But if I really go back through my memory and think of some of the vocabulary we were using to describe things, I don't want to. I thought a lot of it was dumb at the time. So I wonder how these Gen Alpha kids are going to, because I think sixth grade is Gen Alpha.
Okay.
So I wonder, like, what's going to be their thing that they look back on as Sex and the City and Mean Girls and be like, that's so outdated and cringe. Like, what's it going to be? Roblox, maybe.
Roblox.
I have no idea. But they are lethal in sixth grade, and they are hilarious. So it's going to be an interesting generation to watch. And you know what? The characters in Mean Girls were lethal as well. It's just a different kind. So kids have always been assholes. And that's okay. They make me laugh. It's fine. They grow out of it for the most part. And you get to see a lot of character growth in the characters of Mean Girls by the end. Obviously, they wrap it up in a nice little bow. and fix everybody's problems, I guess.
Getting hit by a bus will do that.
2004 movies want to do, like, all those early 2000 movies, they told you at the end, like, here's what happened to this character. Here's what happened to this character. Like, as music played over it, sometimes there was text on the screen, like in Legally Blonde.
Legal Blonde, yeah.
Or sometimes just like in this one, they
there's got to be a lesson, or there was no point to the movie. There has to be moral growth. I don't know, movies
just end now.
Do they?
Yeah, they show you the growth, and then it's over. They don't tell you exactly what happened in the next 5 years, whatever. It was just a thing of the time. I miss it. It's funny. So yeah, you do get to see, like, the lesson of the movie especially was important. I have to tell you, like, that movie was really important at the time because it really was very accurate to what girls were like to each other and the social hierarchy and the way people spoke, the common tongue. And it did, like, highlight a lot of that to you. And as a kid at that time, it made you second think, like, it really did make you think, like, this isn't the way people should probably be treating each other. Like, this shit is stupid. And some kids didn't get it. I was telling Lauren, I had a group of popular girls in middle school that came back the next day after watching Mean Girls and were like, where are the plastics? You guys missed it completely. Like, yes, you're pretty and you're popular. Congratulations, you did it in 6th and 7th grade. But you missed the point. So it landed for some, not for others. What are you going to do? We look back now and we're like, well, at least it was accurate.
It was extremely accurate, yeah.
Felt very of the time, like it brings you right back. So, but we're going to sort the plastics and we will sort Cady and maybe touch on Janice.
Yeah.
So we'll just go through it. It's not a long movie.
It's a movie. It's an hour and a half.
It's a movie.
There's
not. It's a movie,
there is not a lot and a lot of substance to it at the same time. Really, Rachel and I were talking about, like, I could quote this movie back to front. I can have it on in the background. I know exactly what's happening at all times. So
I couldn't remember it last night when I was talking to Lauren, and I was like, I thought Regina, like, really cared about these people. Like, I thought I really, really couldn't remember. I thought Cady, like, really. I forgot she was from another country. I was like, oh, she's just a new girl at school. Like,
you're from Africa. Why are you white?
Yeah, I forgot fucking everything. I couldn't tell you a single thing about Gretchen Wieners except the toaster strudel. So I was just like, I probably shouldn't sort this till I watch it. And then she was talking to me about it. She reminded me of the actual personality traits going on. And I remembered the actual plot of the movie. And I was like, oh, all right. Yeah, these are pretty clear sorts.
I thought so.
I don't expect.
Did you have any? I guess we'll talk about Karen when we get to her. Because I was literally, I put her where I put her because anywhere other house, I was like, I can't really put her there.
It's like you got to just kind of flick her there. It also doesn't exactly fit, but it does, I guess. I don't know.
She's so unbothered by it. Like, she totally knows what she is. And she's so like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a strange thing. She's why don't we start with Karen?
Okay. What a choice.
So Karen has like 10 lines.
She does. Most of her part in the movie is Amanda Seyfried does a great job, by the way. And I read an article where, like, her mom almost didn't let her be in this movie because she was like, this is like and I think she tried out for Regina first, and it was down between her and Rachel McAdams, and then they, like, moved her to Karen.
Wow.
Yeah. So and most of the movie, her role is to listen to other people talk and then have a look on her face like she's trying to process what they're saying. Like, if you look at Karen during scenes, like when Cady's complaining about Miss Norbury and talking about how she's a drug pusher, Karen's down there sitting on the floor in the corner, like working her brain through it.
Yeah. I just think Karen didn't really care. Like, she doesn't really care to listen, but when she does jump in, she's like, oh yeah, I've heard about that. That means thing that's completely unrelated. Like, she's not really tuned into what you're saying at all. I don't think she actually cares. She cares about having fun.
I think I think she cares about her friends too. Like, when Regina was sad about the breakup, she was like, what can we do to help you out? Yeah. But she was also, she's not
really completely shallow. She just, like, she sort of is what she is. I couldn't really compare her to someone like Elle Woods or something. But I'm trying to think of another happy party girl. I can't think of anyone that she's like, but it's weird. So if you go through the houses, before I remembered the movie, I told Lauren, I was like, I just remember her being weird. So is she a Ravenclaw? Like, I don't know. Maybe she has a system. No. There's no system. There's no blends. Like, there's nothing there. There's nothing to indicate Slytherin. Like, there's no indicator. And so then you have to go to the emotion houses. Okay. So, Hufflepuff. Well, I don't think she cares very much about like what's fair and getting justice or fitting in somewhere exactly. She's just kind of chilling. And she's like, I'm hot and I landed here. And that makes sense. And I'm happy about it.
Basically.
Like, and she just goes, but she goes with whatever is going on. And so you sort of have to put her in Gryffindor, which is just, it's like weird because she's not like a fighter about anything or particularly angry about anything. She's also not like weirdly moody like Edward, but she really doesn't fit in the other three.
I think Karen is just like concerned with her own pleasure. Like she just wants to have a good time and wants the others around her have a good time. When she's at the party and she's like, Shane Ullman's looking hot. And Gretchen's like, that's your cousin. She's like, okay. And like Gretchen gets her to understand why that's bad. And then Karen's still like, yeah, but he's still a good kisser though. So like, I'm going to go talk to him.
She's going to do what she wants. She's very self-driven for sure. She'd have to be a healed one.
I don't think anything ever made her unhealed. I think she's just.
Nope. I think she's just good. Like she's fine. She's not one. Well, I don't know. I don't know if she was created by trauma. She's making out with her cousin. But she's like just very cool with everything. And she's just not a fight. She's just there for a good time, not for a long time.
You know who she's almost
like? Which is
like,
very Gryffindor.
She's almost like Ken. She's like.
Sure. I like that comparison. Yeah, we could definitely say that. We've done Barbie, right?
Yeah, we've done Barbie.
Okay. We've said he's a Gryffindor. He's a very obvious Gryffindor. But he has more passion. Yeah, but it's because he realizes that he's been wronged.
And also,
so she's
he like loves Barbie
before the patriarchy.
She doesn't have anybody. Yeah, she's just like she's totally chill. She see, but you do see a little bit when Gretchen calls and tells her that Regina called her a slut, where she's like,
yeah, she didn't like that.
She was like, "Fuck you, bitch."
I'm sick. Like in the worst fake. She doesn't care.
And she was part of like the thing with Gretchen where, I mean, Gretchen is the one that was like, you can't sit with us. But Karen was being like, it was that true that time I wore a vest. Like she was like, get off our table.
That's true.
Yeah, she was into it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, she gets pissy sometimes. You're right. Yeah, you have to put her there because really the other three don't work. And if I think of her in Barbie world, she could be a Barbie. She could be a fun, like a fun, happy Barbie who loves her Ken. I can see that. I like that. So getting Karen out of the way, because Karen really, I'm sorry, like it's really like 15 lines, honestly, if I'm being fair. She doesn't say a lot.
But again, Amanda Seyfried does it so well. So excited to see. I don't know who the new girl playing Karen is, but excited.
She is so
also,
cute.
I did not get to see the musical. I really wanted to. But I've listened to a lot of the music, and one of my favorite songs in the musical is Karen singing about Halloween and how you get to dress up as a slut and nobody will bother you about it. Yeah, so I'm very excited to see that.
That's part of the culture to this day, Karen saying that. Yes. She's very culturally relevant. It's true. Be a slut. Do whatever you want. Have fun. I'm happy to welcome her into Gryffindor house. I enjoyed
Rachel
her
was like,
immensely.
I hope she is one of mine. I was like, she is.
Like I love that. We love that here. So then we have
I do want to say one other thing about Karen. Also, when Cady starts getting into like Gretchen and getting Gretchen to like spill stuff to her, they're doing it in front of Karen, and Karen is just kind of like. She's not going and telling Regina. She's just like, I'm here for my friends in this moment. And then she'll go. And it's not two-faced at all. She's just like, I just wasn't my business. Like, I was just there.
That's true. She really doesn't think much about it. Like, I don't know. It's always funny to see the, like the measure of a house. So you have these Gryffindors that are like, a Nick Miller who's constantly defensive, constantly like ready to fight with the demons in his head that he thinks are somewhere in front of him, like they're not there, and just like always angry or whatever. And then you have like an Elle Woods who's happy-go-lucky and super like it's a big spectrum. Like we talk about Ravenclaw being a really big, weird spectrum, but Gryffindor can be too.
Yeah. Because you hold two truths in your head and you live them at all times.
So we're able to be complete weirdos that way. And she fits really well into. I love that you said Ken. I would have never said that. Like I would have never thought that. That's perfect. I go back to thinking about characters that we sorted on the show like years ago as staples. Sometimes when I'm thinking of people to compare to.
Yeah.
Ken's really recent, so he is not like in my Gryffindor lore yet. I have to really accept him and internalize Ken. Yeah, because he was one of the ones where I'm watching and I'm like, this idiot. God, stop it! You're so stupid. But I feel that way about a lot of the boys in my house. So
it's true.
Karen, I like. See, so it's a Misandrous thing. It's fine. I'm fine with that. I don't have anything else to add about Karen. I just really like her. And I want her, so I'm glad. I'm glad to be here. Yeah. Amanda Seyfried was such a queen of that time too, like with Mamma Mia and Jennifer's Body.
And Veronica Mars, man.
Oh yeah,
she's Lily. Yeah, that was big. My God. That was big then.
I forgot that's her.
Yes, that was big then. I think Lily is almost how they saw her because Lily's pretty close to Karen, where she's like. Lily is not dumb, but she's very happy-go-lucky, I'm going to do whatever I want, kiss whoever I want, you know.
There for a good time.
Yeah. Not a long time.
It's interesting. Well, if you compare her to another similar character, I thought of Sarah from Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
Where her whole thing is just like, I'm just living life.
Right.
Like, that's it.
Did we sort
similar characters?
Did we sort Lily when we did Veronica Mars? Yeah.
No, we didn't.
I feel like maybe we did like offhand.
Probably talking, but she wasn't like
she's
officially.
A Gryffindor. Absolutely.
I'm sure that she is.
Yeah.
Now that I'm just thinking back on what I remember of her, I mean, she's dead. So, I really became like a Logan Veronica person during that time. So that's what jumps out of me. Sometimes Keith. I don't remember Lily that well, but I believe you.
She was very. I mean, because it was flashbacks and then Veronica like hallucinated her essentially, right? And all of Veronica's hallucinations were Lily being like, why can't you figure out who killed me, you dumbass?
Yeah, explains Veronica liking Logan. She's one of the Slytherins who like Gryffindors.
Yeah.
What a loser.
Thanks.
You're welcome. After Karen, like we could work our way up to the big ones.
Okay.
We could go like
you want to go for Gretchen now?
Next would be Gretchen.
Or Janice okay. I love Gretchen. Gretchen's my favorite. I love Gretchen.
Why?
I would absolutely. she's such a great Iago. Like, I don't know what else to say about her.
She's so annoying, though.
I mean, maybe, I guess. It depends. I mean, Regina is constantly annoyed by her, which makes you wonder why. I guess because Gretchen's so willing to do things for her and because she knows so much that Regina can't really get rid of her.
Yeah, Regina can't cut her loose. It's too dangerous. And we see that Gretchen has no problem, like, really turning on you if you really fuck up. Or, like, she wasn't playing fair. And eventually Gretchen really did get fed up with it, which is fair. I think they all did. Like, even Karen, like, exactly like you said about the vest comment. She's like, well, this just isn't fair anymore.
Right.
Like, what the fuck's going on? So, Gretchen cares about, honestly, I think she cares about what's right. Like I do, because when she has the neurotic, like, you can't sit with us thing, it very much comes from a place of like,
I think
it's
that
not
she's
fair.
Like, yeah. And I think it's more like to herself than anybody. She's like, because I think they say it. They were like, these are rules that we made that we all have to follow. Or Gretchen is the one explaining to Cady when they first meet up that she's like, you know, if you want a boyfriend or you want to buy a dress, like we all have to, you wouldn't buy a dress without getting your friend's approval, right? She's like, we all do this for everyone. So you have to do it, like you have to do it too. So it's like when you're not doing it, she's like, what the fuck? I had to do all this. Like,
the rules are very important, which that has to strike you as a logic house immediately because they're the ones who are like very rigid about certain things. Like we have this whole thing. I use Lauren as an example. Lauren will never want to put out a late episode if she can control that, like in some way. If we can get it out on time, get it out on time. Whereas like me and Emotion House, I'm like, put that shit out. Whatever. Who cares? Like we'll do it the next day. We'll do whatever. And she's like, no, because we have a schedule. And it's like, Okay, why does that matter to you? I don't know why that matters to you so much. Because and then you can sort of see like the Gretchen a little bit there, like with the neurotic, like you have to follow it. And I don't know a single Ravenclaw who doesn't love rules, like whatever rules they create for themselves. So you have to put her in a logic house because it's tempting to put her in Hufflepuff. Like in my vague memory of her, I was like, oh, so she cares about like being judgmental. She cares about like fitting into this group and the group is her community, whatever. And I think you gotta like remember who Gretchen actually is. It's not so much what's fair, what's right in general, or she'd be much nicer to the general population of the high school as well. It's like, what did we say we were going to do? Then we're going to do it, which is really like that's way more of a, I'll just say she's Southern.
Yeah.
Like,
she is. Well, yeah. And I mean,
fits way better there.
She never truly thinks she did anything wrong. Like her apology is like, I can't help it that I'm so popular. Like, I'm sorry that everybody is jealous of me. It's very Slytherin. She's like, I did not do anything wrong. I've just been sitting here being popular and pretty. That's the other thing too. When Regina like insults her to Cady, she calls her not pretty, which is like that gets her more than anything else. Like, not that she's not smart or not that she like doesn't have any friends. She's like she's just not pretty, and that really gets to her because it's all part of like how people see you, right? And like you can't do anything about not being pretty. Like you can make people like you, but if somebody's like you're not pretty, like what the hell do I do about that? Especially when she thinks she's pretty, and she is pretty. So I don't know.
Yeah, if you care, sure, it matters a lot.
Well, it does matter to her because she cares a lot about how people see her. She does. That's how she controls things. That's why when it gets to the point where they're getting Regina annoyed with her, and Cady's like, the more Regina like hated her, the more she was trying so hard to get Regina to like her because she was really concerned with that. And she also, it's all part of a thing that she's doing, right? In order to get all of these secrets from people that she gets, they have to find her trustworthy or they have to like her in order to like impart these things on her. And she has a lot of Regina's secrets. But Damien also says at the beginning of the movie, like her hair is so big because it's full of secrets because she knows everybody else's business. Like she's finding this shit out.
Collecting information.
Yeah. And she's not like spreading it because you would think that Regina or like Karen would have been pissy about her way beforehand. And it's hard. You can't keep that stuff from people. Like this was the source if she's going around spreading it a lot. So she's like she's not going around being like Karen made out with her cousin. She wants to know
for herself.
Yeah, she's not going around being like Karen made out with her cousin. She's like, this is information that I have that may have to be used later, but I'm just going to go say it.
I don't even think she collects it with the intention of using it against anyone later. It's just like, I want to know these things, which is really Slytherin. Like you can ask Lauren about a really random topic that like she went on a deep dive on a Twitter thread about. Like she doesn't actually care about it, but now she has all this information in her head about it.
I just love it.
Like to know stuff.
Just not even to use it. I just like knowing about people.
I get that, but for me it has to be juicy. Like it has to be somewhat.
I like knowing random ass facts about people.
I don't care if you're born in Timbuktu. Like, how does that help me later? It doesn't help me. But it's definitely a Slytherin trait.
You don't know.
Sure. If I want to expose you later for something, like I don't really care. But I see a lot of she does care a lot about other people and about how other people perceive her. So,
and she does.
I think she really does actually really like Regina.
She likes Regina, and she really likes Karen. Like that whole scene where she's trying to convince Karen not to kiss her cousin. It's like concern for Karen.
Yeah, she's
really worried about her.
She is. My dislike of her doesn't come from like, oh, well, she's mean. Like, she's really not. It's just this weird. It's an almost.
I think she's like vindictive and petty, and yeah,
stupid. Like it's just that my father, the inventor of toaster, like she Draco Malfoy'd. She did. She like Draco peacocked there with her fucking. My father will hear about this. It's literally Draco. That's annoying. You're goody.
I told Rachel that I didn't think she would agree with me or that she would be confused by me, it's because Gretchen is very firmly like a Smee almost. She's more than a Smee, but she's like a second hand, right? She's a right hand man, and she's really happy. And we've talked about Slytherin. Slytherins fall into the role of leadership a lot, and they are good leaders, and they like being leaders. And so Gretchen's kind of weird in that she's very happy to be like a background leader.
But we
like,
just saw it with Izzy.
Yeah,
just saw with Izzy.
She doesn't want people to like perceive her, but she is puppeteering some stuff, or like she does, and she could like because her ending or whatever is that she finds a new group to and that's another huge thing. They just show her speaking another language. Like she's just picked up this other language to join this group, which is crazy smart.
Well, I think she really just wants people. She wants people to care about. She wants her friendship to matter to her anyway. It doesn't have to necessarily matter like in the grand. I think it was probably great, right? Being one of the plastics and having all the privileges that come with being the most popular group, whatever. But she could assimilate wherever she needs to continue what she cares about. And I think what she cares about is people in general, whether it's their perception of her or caring about them like for good, for other reasons. She does. She's a people person.
Yes.
So I think if your circle as a Slytherin kind of explodes the way hers did, what are you going to do? Like, and you're a real people person, you're going to try to find another circle, which is, so it makes sense. Her ending makes total sense for her.
I agree.
Yeah.
I just figured there would be some pushback to like, she's being like a lackey. And it's like, well, she enjoys
because I saw Izzy. Certainly not pushback for me. I saw it.
I forgot about Izzy, honestly, when I was talking to you about it. But
yeah,
and also, it's hard too, because I mean, Blackbeard's like this crazy Ravenclaw, and Slytherins and Ravenclaws can have like weird. Regina's certainly not a Ravenclaw, so it's like
but Slytherins can take direction and can take orders.
Yes.
So if there's a superior,
if we agree with them,
they'll defer to them.
Yeah,
yeah. Like you have no problem like calling out a superior if you think something's bullshit. That's fine, but like you will follow the rules.
Yeah.
And she's no exception to that. She's following the rules. And a lot of Slytherins you see in media are like really popular and loved because they like break out of it and they like go and they're like fuck you to their superior, like Damon from House of the Dragon, or whatever. Like
or Damon Salvatore or Spike.
Damon Salvatore. Yeah. They like break free from that or whatever. But your standard run of the mill Slytherin who's not like doesn't have whatever mental disorders those three have,
and those three all like hate other people, right? They're like,
really
other people have wronged me. Like
you're
that's
talking
why.
about a Slytherin who likes others,
right?
Likes to play with others. They like the rules.
She's like a Blair almost that is okay with Serena taking the lead. You know?
Yeah.
Like.
Well, maybe
Blair
it has
was
to do with the house.
not okay with it. Well, yeah,
it
and also
and
with Serena's personality and their relationship.
Serena's hard. She's a tough one.
Serena, who refuses to acknowledge that she is, she gets privilege, and Blair's like,
I have to go. Shut up, girl. I'm in love with this one forever. This is my love story.
Blair, I don't get special privilege. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but then let Blair like hurt her feelings. Then Serena's like, now I'm going to use all my special privilege.
Yeah,
fuck you
over. Yeah.
She knows.
Off,
such a liar. What a liar, Serena. But Regina's not like that, though.
No,
she's not.
No.
I guess we could just whatever. We'll get to Regina, but the house dynamic there certainly makes sense. Yeah, I guess you have to, huh?
Yeah, not the main character.
So Regina on the surface. Where do you want to put her? Obviously, if you just think about Regina George, the icon, the myth, the legend of Regina George, you're like, oh, a Slytherin woman, like maybe like a Cordelia Chase, right? Think about the secondary house that she would fit in and start thinking about like why that is. You have to look at her for more than what you're just seeing. You can't look at her through the lens of the kids who fear her. Okay? You have to look at what Regina shows you in the movie, which is wow, she's very unhinged in the way of like she doesn't care about any of you. That's not a circle. Gretchen and Karen could honestly like fall off and get hit by a bus tomorrow and not recover, and she'd be like,
she's like, so I need a new Karen.
I need a new one I need new lackeys.
Yeah.
And Cady is an experiment. And I think most people kind of are that to her. I think they're kind of like toys. So Erin, she doesn't really give a shit about Erin, which is sad because I'm sure Erin probably did care about her.
Yeah,
but she
Erin was
didn't.
A nice boy.
He is a nice boy. And she didn't care about him. She just cared that, like,
all he cares about is school and his friends and his mom. Is that bad?
She's low-key a demon. I'm sorry. She's very funny. Very, very funny. But really, really, like, does not care. Doesn't care about her mother. She's just like, I have all this stuff because I'm great and I'm the best. And that makes total sense to me. I'm entitled to all of this and to all of you and to all of your time. And I'm going to give you nothing back except the honor of my presence. It's very queen-like behavior. I think
there's something with the Reginas in that house.
There's something.
You got to be named.
It's very regal behavior. Indeed, it is. Just the scene of the boys all carrying her.
Yeah.
Like after they cut the nipple holes out of her shirt and it's supposed to embarrass her, and she's like, I'm just going to make that work for me.
Yeah.
And then she does. Like, it's not Ravenclaw where things just sort of happen and they go with it like Scott. It's not that. Scott cares about people, human beings. Regina doesn't. So, yeah.
I also don't think I don't think Regina's like, she is not passive in her experimentation where she's like, what'll happen if I do this? She's like, she's making things happen. Like like when she initiates Cady into like her first 3-way call, or where she's like, well, don't you think it was pretty bitchy that Gretchen told me that? It's like, see, Gretchen, she doesn't think you're bitchy. Okay, bye. Like,
yeah, I want to see what's going to happen with these little puppets. If I like,
right? She's like, also, I'm doing things to them. Like,
but what's funny is she really doesn't care about the outcome.
No.
And so a Ravenclaw cares about the outcome, right? They're puppeteering you because they need you at a certain part of the board to get themselves.
No, but Ravenclaws aren't necessarily puppeteering. They're like naturally what will happen.
But if you think about the puppeteer ones, right? Because I'm just comparing a person who likes to play with people. So if you think about like Rumpelstiltskin, he cares about where you end up. If he like he's placing you there for a reason because he needs it to get to a certain other place to get to his ultimate power. Regina like is already in power. And she's cool with that, but she still is like, I'm going to poke at you. I want to poke at you and see what's going to happen here. And then whatever happens, like, okay, well, I didn't make you do that. Like, yeah, you did. You did actually. You like pushed the domino on purpose. Well, you can try to prove it, but like, she's fucking crazy. But she's really very funny. And a very good manipulator. So like when she does the whole thing with the burn book, and she's crying in the principal's office, they like buy it a little bit. And there's that iconic scene of what's happening in the school where they're like, Mom, pick me up, I'm scared.
Yeah.
And everyone's running around and the papers are flying and she is the queen at the top of it with her arms folded like, this is fantastic. Look what I did. I love this. She's just like, the chaos is fueling her. It is really like Regina, the other Regina.
She's a Hufflepuff. We never said that.
Yeah. Well, I said we'll put her where we put the other Regina, but no, I didn't actually say the house name. I'm sorry. No. Yeah, no, it's and it's funny because you're like, okay, Regina doesn't care about anything, so she doesn't care about community. I think Regina would care about the right community, and you do see that at the end of the movie where she's like very into sports.
Well, and she also, it's not always that they have to care about the community necessarily. They just want to be a part of the community. And she very clearly, like, she puts a lot of stake in the fact that she is the most popular girl in school and that people will not come up to her and speak to her and that they just know things about her without her having to do anything.
Yeah, and you can't say that she doesn't care about the status
and also
position. She does a lot.
I was telling Rachel, I was like, there's like her random ass compliments, like to Cady or to that girl in the hallway with the skirt or wherever, where she doesn't mean them. But she, like, there's no reason for, like, it's not Slytherin where she's, like, doing it to, like, get anything out of them later. It's not Ravenclaw where she's like, I want to see what the reaction to this is. She, like, she says it to say it. And then is like, that's the ugliest fun. But it's all part of, like, the connection to her community, right? Too. It's her connection to her community. Like, oh, look, I bestowed a favor upon a peasant today. Like, continues on her way. Like...
Oh my God, she's named so well.
It's probably why they named her that, I would assume.
Yeah, but it's the other Regina, like that we know from Once Upon a Time. Crazily enough, like Rachel McAdams could have played that role, is what I'm learning today. Really easily. And the Regina in Once Upon a Time, she actually did care about like being loved, but she felt like she couldn't get it, so she had to instead be feared to be respected. And I think
Regina
this
does not want to be.
She does not care about being loved. She leans right into the being.
Which I guess
thing.
you could like read into when Gretchen's like her parents are separated and like and her sister, her home life is clearly fucked up from her little sister. You can tell.
You immediately have to like realize that she's an emotion house because of the aggression problems that she has. So at the end of the movie, they're like she had to channel her rage into something else because she has so much anger inside of her that it dictates what she does and how she treats other people. So we're like, certainly logic houses can have all those negative emotions in them, and they can explode at different times, but they can keep the lid on it. Regina doesn't keep a lid on it. It's like, it's coming out of her at all moments. Everything that drives her is aggression. So the way she looks at you, the way she talks to you.
When she figures out the Caltine bars, like the whole way home, she's like,
yeah. But even the microaggressions and like the fake compliments. So you agree, you think you're really pretty. Yeah. It's dripping. She's seething. Always. She's always angry.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't remember a part in the movie where she's not like looking at you with that bitchy face. Like, I dare you to say something. Like, I fucking dare you. She's always so mad. And it's like Regina in Once Upon a Time in the Storybrooke actual world where she's just always angry. But people in Once Upon a Time are trying to like her. She's got her father there where he's like, no, you're good. And she's actively fighting the goodness in her. Like nobody is trying to bring any goodness out of Mean Girls Regina. Nobody cares. They're just like letting her get away with everything. So she's not learning where to actually place the rage in a healthy place until the end, where she learns to put it into sports, which is really healthy and good for her. And that's what helps her develop. Like, because at the end of the day,
well, she's clearly learned that her rage gets her things too. Right? Like,
absolutely.
There's like such throwaway lines where she's like, I made my parents switch rooms with me. Clearly, she threw a fucking tantrum and they just gave her the bigger room.
It's and also, I totally forgot before I rewatched, before I talked to Lauren, what she did to Janice, too.
Yeah.
That whole shit where she just like ruins that kid's life while also being the same age. She does that as a child. That comes from a place of aggression and like, you're a very angry kid to do that. Like, you're mean. You are. She's a mean girl. You're a mean girl. Like, that is low key. I mean, it's on the nose, but whatever. That is what she is. Like, and I think, to your point about the parents' divorce, that's the only place we can trace back to. Because I don't know what else could happen.
Well, they're not divorced, but like separated. Gretchen's like, they're totally not sleeping in the same bed anymore, if you know what I mean.
Right. And that obviously is going to affect a kid. And if you have parents that are enabling the bad behavior, you get like a Veruca Salt. And that's kind of what they created. They created a little bit of a monster. I think, anyway.
That scene where she's dressed up as the Playboy bunny and is like shaking her ass and her dad's like tearing up. I was like, oh
it's almost like in the Amanda Bynes movie we just did. The parents are so like, removed.
Yeah.
You create these insane children. What are you doing? But that is totally what happened here. So I don't think if you look at like logic houses, for example, I don't think the anger is the motivator. I don't think a feeling is ever really the motivator. It's like a system or belief or rules or just
like something not being done right.
Something that makes sense.
Yeah.
Whereas emotion houses are so called because emotions are kind of what fuel us and are what like are at the forefront of everything. And for her, that's scary that anger is your motivator because that can make you become queen of the kingdom, be absolutely insane to everybody, and just rule. And she never would have been taken down either.
No,
like if not for the events of like what goes on, and she took herself down. Kind of.
She kind of you kind of see a little Hufflepuff in that too, where she's like she had to have known, like she was so angry she was willing to blow up her whole thing just to get Cady, right? Like she was that mad at Cady for doing stuff that was pretty equally retaliatory to what Regina like was doing to other people. So
but she doesn't fear consequences, right? So even the downfall of her little like everything that she's built up, she's like, I could just rebuild this somewhere. I don't care. And it doesn't matter to me.
You see her so easily other people. She immediately, she's like, Gretchen's getting on my, she's fucking annoying. Like, don't invite her. Like, to Karen. Like, they are a little, like, tight-knit threesome. And
but she doesn't actually like, she really doesn't like either one of them. Like, they're just I decorations.
And I think she likes Karen more than Gretchen just because she's willing to say, I think she thinks Karen is a non-threat level. And that's why she allows herself to like her a little, because she's like, Karen's so fucking dumb. She's like her dog. Karen is like her dog, whereas Gretchen like knows
it's funny.
Things.
She's her Smee, maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, no, Gretchen knows things and whatever, but that's why Regina always keeps her in that sweet spot of like, you want to please me.
Yeah.
This displeases me. For whatever reason, Gretchen's like, I'm so sorry.
Regina, talk
to me. It is really so fetch. And Regina's like, stop trying to make that happen. God, you're so fucking annoying. Like, oh my God. I couldn't deal with that. I really could not deal with that. But yeah, she's scary. She's just so motivated by rage and no consequences. And, anyone who's willing to just lose anything like that, lose everything like that, just blow up their own spot, you want to watch out. Because if the bus doesn't take them out and like rewire their brain, you better run. So yeah, she's a scary Hufflepuff. It's always fun. They're always fun to find. Because they're rare. They are.
Soldier Boy Hufflepuff?
That's not the norm. But it's kind of like what we were talking about with Karen before. They're very obviously, they don't fit in the other three.
Right.
They just don't. If you look at more than surface level, for sure. So we've almost got a full castle there. That's an interesting little trio dynamic. And then
the last piece comes in.
And then we see Cady. So, Cady, I didn't remember shit about, I have to tell you, until I watched the movie. And then I was like, no, actually, it was before I even watched the movie. I was talking to Lauren last night. And I was like, I don't know. Is she like a Hufflepuff who wants to fit in? And Lauren's like, no, I don't think so. And I'm like, well, I don't remember her. Like, what's the thing? What is she? And I started thinking about her and I went, oh, hey, do you have her here? Because I just remembered how, we'll get into it. But yeah, immediately Lauren was like, yes, huge one. And I want you to explain, because what you said last night was really,
I mean, it's really,
good.
It's really, so Cady was raised in Africa. Her parents are scholars or whatever. So she was raised in Africa. So she has never been socialized in a normal school. She didn't like make friends the way that you would make friends in America, where you go to school and then you find kids, and then America's very cliquey, like the school system, or it was when we were growing up, at least. I don't know what it's like now. So, yeah, I guess we'll see in this new musical, but so she doesn't understand any of that. And like we were talking earlier about like the way Regina talked to her, where she kept saying, what? And like Cady kept repeating herself. And Regina was like, no, I heard what you said. But like, what? she doesn't get it. Like, she's not with it. So she comes in with this view that she has to, and you see her doing it. Like, you see scenes where she is like, I know how the animal kingdom works. Her mom is the stuff that she studies in Africa were animals or whatever. So she's like, I know how the animal kingdom works. I know how, animals fight each other. I know how the weak one in the herd works and all that stuff. So she's like, how do I take this system and apply it to what's happening here? Like, how do I understand these people through the lens that I already know intimately? So she comes in like, this is girl world, and this is how things are done in girl world. Like, these are the rules as they are in the animal kingdom. This is how it works here. And she also immediately gets Janice, who is like, I will tell you how these things relate to what you already understand. This is how you do things. You see when they, Janice and Damien take Cady into the back, like the back lot or whatever. And she's like, it's bad to, like, are we going to get in trouble for skipping class? And Janice is like, we're your friends. Why would we get you in trouble? And Cady is like, I know it's wrong to skip class, but Janice is here telling me that this is okay. And she's like, so I am going to trust that, and we're going to figure out how this all works. And then Regina is interested in her, and she doesn't want to sit with them. And Janice is like, no, you have to sit with them, and you have to like tell me. She's like, you have to study them, and you have to tell me what they're. And Cady can relate to that. She's like, my mom studies animals. Regina sounds interesting. I'm willing to study that. And also Janice is my friend. And Janice told me how everything works and like diagrammed the cafeteria for me. So I am also willing to tell Janice about my studies on Regina. It's so Ravenclaw.
Yeah.
It's so, and the way that she gets sucked into the role where it's like, this is how I live now. And this is my system. And she gets into it to the point that Janice is like, you are a plastic. And Cady's like, well, I am what you told me to be. Like, I don't know what you really want from me here.
She's like, success. You got what you wanted.
You've done it. And when Regina like falls out of favor because of everything they've done, and Karen and oh my God, Gretchen are like, you're our new leader now. She's kind of like, okay. She's like, I'm willing to take that on.
Yeah, that's true. So it's like any other kind of Ravenclaw system
the way
that you see, but it's like
the way that she starts failing math to get Aaron to talk to her, like it's so calculated that she figures that out.
Yeah, and you would think she's like this very unsuspecting, like sweet person. She didn't have any of this information. She did go in fully blind, fully innocent, honestly. But once she learned how the animal kingdom of girl world worked, she started using it to her advantage to advance herself. So she didn't, I don't know, she's not like a vindictive manipulator. Like she really just wants the things that other people have put in front of her and told her were valuable. She wouldn't have. She's like, this is how you fit in.
You guys have told me all this shit. Like,
they created a monster. It reminded me a little bit of Rory.
Yeah.
Like when you're talking about like the creation of somebody. And like Rory Gilmore.
Created by her mother.
And the town that like totally enabled and was just like, you're such a special girl. Everything you do is so special. And she's like, I guess I am a special girl. Like, that's what happens here with Cady too, to a point where they're like, do this so that you can do A so you can get to B. And she's like, okay. And now I like B. Yeah. I like to be here. Like, I'm going to stay here.
This is where you told me everybody wants to be. I like this.
Right.
Like,
and they're like, yeah, but you're not supposed to want to actually climb past the point we told you to climb, because like we can't use you.
We can't control you.
So you've got Hufflepuff Regina and whatever Janice over here. They're both like, we want to use this person for what we want. And she's like, you guys, I'm already way past whatever game you were playing. Like, I want the boy. I want the look. This is all fun. Like, she really is a girl just having fun. And they fucking hate it. They get so mad at her. It's like, it's not fair. To a point, yeah, okay. Like, certain things, Cady, she definitely knows better. Like, upon reflection, she looks back and she's like, it was shitty. But, like, again, she was new to it. Sorry she mastered it so quickly. That's what a Ravenclaw's going to do. I don't know what to tell you. You probably should have figured out what house she was before you started trying to fuck with this
She
kid.
also, it's so Ravenclaw how, you like, somebody, like, she, at the beginning, she's like, why do you hate Regina so much? She's like, why do you hate her? And she, like, really needs a reason. And Janice won't give her a reason. She's like, I just do, because she's awful. And she's still willing to, like, do mean things. And she does get, you can see her when she starts hanging out with Regina, where she starts to get glimpses, like when Regina calls that girl's mom because Gretchen's into the guy, and then the guy's hanging out with the other girl, and then so they call pretending to be Planned Parenthood. You can tell Cady's like uncomfortable. She was like, that was a mean thing to do. So you can see moments where she's like, Regina is mean and deserves this. But still, there are points when other people would have been like, we're like making this girl fat. Like, really, we're endangering this girl's health without her knowing. We're like doing
and like also this girl didn't do anything to me.
Right. Yeah. Well, and she, like she's, I mean, by this point she's heard things from Gretchen too, where Gretchen's like, she doesn't even really like you. And so it's like, so she's like, Cady's like, she's a mean girl. She deserves this. But I still feel that, like, and this isn't something like a Ravenclaw could have felt bad about this, but I feel like it's something unique to Ravenclaw where they can get, and maybe I guess Hufflepuff if they were othering somebody, but then I think you'd be able to tell, like you wouldn't be able to hide it as well. Like, she's still acting as a friend as much as Regina has friends to Regina. But like, I can't believe that Cady never stepped back and is like, we're doing awful things to this girl. Yeah. It's like Janice I can understand because Janice fucking wants Regina to die. But Katie's just like this like new girl who came in and has seen Regina being somewhat mean, but she's never been like outwardly mean to her. Because I don't.
Well, it shows you how
that
well
moment too, where she's like, she tells that girl that her skirt is really pretty, and then Cady has the flashback to being like, "Oh, you said that about my bracelet, and it's not pretty."
Right. She's understanding the language.
You see Cady realize in that moment too that Regina's never been genuine with her because she realizes that she said the same thing about her bracelet and liking it as she does about the girl whose skirt she said she liked, and then she's like, "That's the ugliest fucking thing I've ever seen." So Cady is like seeing these moments where she's like, Regina's not genuine, Regina's a mean person. But you're right that Regina's never like done anything to Cady. Like from Regina's point of view, she's like, I'm allowing this girl to like be uplifted by my friendship with her. You know?
True.
Oh, actually, we're wrong. The reason that Cady agreed to do all this is because she kissed Aaron Samuels after Regina said that she would talk to Aaron for her. So Regina did do something to Cady that she. But okay, I guess.
Well, I think it's also really.
I still think
that is something. But
I still
you
think
weren't entitled to Aaron.
Well, I was gonna say. I still think what Cady does to her far outweighs if you just put it up against she kissed Aaron.
It is. It's worse.
They were exes.
Right. I definitely think it's worse, and I definitely think I can understand why Regina would be like, "What the fuck? Like, you went that far? You went as far as I would go. That's crazy." Yeah, of course, it's a Hufflepuff versus a Ravenclaw. It's going to get fucking wild out there, man. But I mean, it goes to show that no house is not susceptible to the animal kingdom of the power dynamics of a high school, but also Ravenclaws tend to be really attracted to power. Yeah. And so I think it is kind of within her character to be like, I like how that tastes. I'm going to go for more. I'm going to go for seconds.
And there's like the moments too where Katie's like, she's like, I'm obsessed with Regina and I can't stop. And it's like, I think she's drawn to the power Regina has that Regina really doesn't like takes for granted. Like she really doesn't care about it as long as she has it.
Care. Yeah.
As long as she has it, she doesn't notice it. She doesn't flaunt it. She just is. Whereas Katie's like, there's so much you could do with that. Like, you could get the guy and you could, all these things. You get these minions.
But she doesn't quite understand that once you have it, it's easy to get bored with it.
Right.
I mean, it's not a challenge anymore. Like, it's not difficult anymore. And I think probably a Hufflepuff is like, well, that's boring after a while, where a Ravenclaw is probably like, nope, this is exactly where I want to be. I'm good. Bring me more. Like, give me more things. And I would like to use this power to stay here at this point in status. So it really fits in well with her character that, like, kissing Aaron and saying kind of mean things about her is enough to make her want to, like, fuck this girl up who otherwise didn't do shit to her. She's just hearing, like, she's really mean. She's really mean. You have to take her down. She did something really bad to me.
Right.
And, like, to be fair to Jen,
Regina tells her from her point of view as well. And you can tell Katie's kind of like, oh my God, like, what did you do to her?
Yeah. She's like, I don't know. She's like in love with me or something or whatever. I don't really.
And I guess now she's on crack.
About it.
Yeah.
She's so funny. That's so ridiculous.
You can tell like Regina has not like been thinking about Janice. She has no regrets about it. She's like, oh, but Cady asked, and it was like, it's kind of funny actually. Like, she's so obsessed with me.
Toys. They're toys. It's
so
wild.
Obsessed with me, and I guess now she's on crack. Like,
damn girl. Well. Just you guys should be afraid of Hufflepuffs, just so you know, out there in the world. Like you really should. You just worry about it.
Haley sometimes comes to us. She just came to us and like explained her mindset about something. And I was scared about it. I was like, Haley, oh my God. I was like, no, thank you for telling me this so I can like understand better about what's going on in your head when you get mad, because it's scary sometimes.
Yeah, your little Pookie bear that you think is like the cute little Hufflepuff. No, they got like serious fangs. Fucking watch out. It's scary. But for some Hufflepuffs, it's like way more obvious. You can't like woobify Regina George.
Right.
She's just a queen and a bitch.
Although some people do try.
That's it. To woobify Regina George?
Yeah, you haven't seen that? We were talking yesterday. I don't want to diss these shippers. But
what?
Yeah, they'll do that.
Guys.
That's like a big
of the
thing.
Original movie or of like the musical?
Oh, not Regina George. I'm sorry. The other Regina.
Oh, I could woobify that, Regina.
Shut up.
I could womanify her, and I could fix her.
No, I don't. I don't know if there's enough of a fandom to have gotten to the point where we're womanifying Regina George.
No, I think people like Regina George for what she is. They find her funny, entertaining, as we do.
Yeah.
So you do have a full castle there once Cady joins the ranks, which is really funny. And you know, there is further. The Gryffindor representation within the group is not great. So we could look outward. We could see if anyone else fits the Gryffindor pattern. And like really clearly Janice does. So Janice is like a Gryffindor who was wronged, and now her whole identity is built around that. She's like, I was misunderstood and I was wronged. And so now I'm going to be the weird misunderstood kid with this rage simmering and boiling underneath me. And it's going to fuel everything I do. And I really want to take her down. So she, as much as I think she probably does like care about Cady's well-being, like she's not looking at her like a toy. She still sees an opportunity where she's like, but my revenge. And Janice's revenge really fuels the whole fucking movie.
And it is very hypocritical of Janice, and very much the Gryffindor holding two things at once, where she's like, she's not treating Cady well, but she honestly sees Cady as a friend. Like she is not treating her like a friend. She's like, Cady, you're my best friend. Like,
she does that to Damien too. She knows Damien's going to get in trouble for breaking his curfew. He's very serious about it. And she still is like, I need to scream at this bitch. I don't care. Like, you're going to get in trouble. Like, her emotions really, really drive her. And you can get, when you have good emotions, then you want that Gryffindor as a friend. You want the Gryffindor with like healthy, good emotions that drive them to be there for you. You don't want the one who's just purely spite driven and like revenge driven, because they can't see past it. And Janice is a really good example of not being able to see past it. Like she can't, it colors everything. And so you can see where she's got the stereotypical like emotional intelligence, right? She can categorize everyone. She knows where everyone fits and why. She can explain the dynamics to Cady fine. And she has all the capabilities of being a really good friend if she wanted to be. But she's so mad. And she has so much resentment in her from what Regina did, which is fair to feel that way. But it drives everything that she does that like is super unhealthy, Janice. I'm sorry. It's not good.
She is like hurting innocence in the process, right? Like she doesn't care that Cady's an innocent. She doesn't care that Aaron is going to get hurt by part of their plan. No. She doesn't care about Gretchen and Karen, that they're going to get hurt by this. She's like, anything I can do to get Regina, even if it means like killing everybody around her, that's what we're going to do.
No, she's fully unhinged. Like it's really, that had to have really, really destroyed her. And then you're talking about adolescence, right? So everything with these teenagers,
and at a time when being accused of being a lesbian was like devastating.
It was so funny because I was talking to Lauren yesterday and I was like, what did she do so bad to her? She called her a lesbian. So, and then I had to like think back and remember, the wild rampant homophobia of the early 2000s.
Right. And like
now it's like,
to like imply you can't go to a pool party because there are girls in swimsuits there and you're like some raging lesbian who like can't keep your hands off people. Like that was stupid. That was the worst thing you could do to somebody. Like,
yeah. And then to know, and I think Janice now knows Regina really doesn't care that she did that. And I'm like a non-issue. I'm a non-person. And
Regina also doesn't honestly think that she's a lesbian who is like in a danger to her. Like Regina just does not care.
No, she doesn't.
She's like, that's just something I did on a Sunday when I decided I didn't want to be friends with Janice anymore. Like, I don't know what you mean.
And I think probably Slytherins and Gryffindors can understand, like, you can love me or you can hate me, but if you're indifferent to me, that's like that's fucked up. Like Taylor has a whole song about it, like where I forgot that like she's trying to hurt that guy by saying I'm indifferent to you. And I can just tell you from a Gryffindor perspective, like being ignored and not even considered, oof, that's going to kill you. So I can understand Janice, especially adolescent baby Gryffindor with all this rage in a time where it's like, oh God, you guys, we grew up in a fucking, it was hard. It was rough out there. Okay. I understand her feelings. It's just that you can really see how little she gives a shit about the destruction of anything around her as long as she can get to Regina. And it's like, all right, maybe that's how a lot of people think, right? Like if you can take out the head, then you can dismantle the whole system. But she's not doing it for those reasons. No. She's not doing it to dismantle her. the system.
You see, actually, too, she, so when they're doing that whole apology thing, Cady is next in line and she gets out of line and Janice sees that and like charges ahead of everybody else and she puts her note cards away. So she had a different apology. And when she saw that Cady like was too chicken shit to like say anything, I guess, or whatever, she went up there and was like, guess what, Regina, fuck you. Like that was her, like that was the catalyst for her doing that.
That's all she wanted. That's literally all she wanted, was just to like, in public, get her. That's it. Yeah. That's all she cared about.
And Regina understands what she was trying to do, because Regina was like, you think I care that everybody actually hates me? She's like, I don't. And she means it. But that's what Janice was going for. Like, actually, nobody likes you. And Regina's like, I don't really care.
Yeah. Because that would hurt a Gryffindor.
Right. It would devastate a Gryffindor if people were pretending to like you and then suddenly you realized it was all a lie and nobody actually likes you. Like, that would be.
Because we're not in it for the power or like the things that come along with it. Like, I really just want you to like me. I want to be your friend. And then for a Hufflepuff who's like at the level that Regina's at, it's like, good, I'm glad they don't like me. I hope they're terrified. And I hope that they bring me things out of fear. like the only way to really hurt Regina is to take away.
Yeah.
Everyone.
No, Regina was
like, don't like her.
She was literally like, you think I care that nobody likes? She's like, that does nothing. It changes nothing. Like, we're going to continue as is. Like,
I remember seeing that as a kid and being like, what do you mean you don't care? I just couldn't, I couldn't understand it. And even as a kid too, like, even though Janice and I share a house, I still thought she went way too far with it. I was like, people were really mean to me too, and I wouldn't do all this stuff. Like, you go too far, girl. She's like,
I think what bothered Janice the most, and I think this is part of why she was trying to like reveal like nobody likes you. I think what bothered Janice the most is that nobody was acknowledging that Regina was mean, or nobody was outwardly saying we don't like Regina because she's mean. Janice was like, I'm going to explode. I'm going to blow this whole thing wide open. Like, Janice needed to know that not everybody liked Regina because nobody was saying anything out of fear.
Yeah. And she probably was like, you're all like a bunch of pussies. Like, what is this? This is ridiculous. Like, you can't think for yourself. You can't. We're just going to sit around and worship her and drink our awesome shooters and do our all. Like, you're just fucking annoying. Like, no one is as bothered as you are, babe. You're so bothered and you're letting everyone know how bothered you are. You can't do that. You're not supposed to let them see it. And I think she knew that, and she was trying to be sneaky by using Cady, but she couldn't hold it in herself at all. And as is likely to happen in her house, it explodes. And in the end, it works out fine. In the end, all of Janice's shenanigans work out in such a way that everyone gets to live a more healthy path, which good for them. So Janice is the hero, I guess. The unlikely hero. That's not what she wanted. That certainly wasn't the outcome she was looking for.
I thought it was interesting how the movie basically suggested that Cady and Janice's and Damien's relationship was healthy because they got to still be friends at the end, where it showed like the plastic split up or whatever. But I was like, they were nice to Cady.
They were just like plastics without power.
Right.
And I mean, that's what cliques are. They were just another little clique. But because they were outsiders and because they were like losers at one point, I guess
it's okay for them to continue hanging out.
The
movie kind of like positioned it where they were like, this is the good friendship and this is the bad.
Sure.
Yeah. So I don't know. I do know that in the musical, Janice has some at least one solo song where she's like explaining where she's coming from, which is a pretty interesting song. So anyway, I'm excited.
Never heard any of it. Never seen it. So I'm excited to see it and to see how it fits. Yeah, she might be a little young. She might be a little young.
Yeah.
I don't know. 7. I don't know. Those themes she hasn't
listen, so the reason that I saw Mean Girls with my mother is because I really wanted to see a movie called Raising Helen. And it was almost out of theaters by that point, and we had to drive about an hour away to find a theater that actually was still showing it, and then they didn't have it. But Mean Girls was out, so my mom took me to Mean Girls, and I was sitting in there at 9 years old thinking somewhat, I might be too young for this movie, but I watched it anyway.
If it was one of those things where she discovered it on her own, like I was 5 when I discovered Clueless, and I would watch it over and over and over. And it was because Alicia Silverstone was so pretty,
right?
And like everyone was so funny, and the boy with the skateboard was cute, and like just like little Rachel things, right? But I don't know that Mia would grasp any of that yet. Maybe 9 is a little better because now you're moving more into the dynamics of like.
Well,
hierarchy.
I was gonna say this one's a musical too, so like there's music at least.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to watch it because I really want to see it. I'm very curious. I've seen all of the anger towards some of it. Like the wardrobe is not correct or something. Like, I don't know. People are like, that's not what Regina George would ever wear.
Oh my God.
Like, whatever.
Renee Raup, who is playing Regina in the movie, was the one who played her on Broadway. So she's like the most. And,
really?
Yeah. And I just saw an interview with Rachel McAdams where she was like, I fucking love, like, she's the best thing that could ever happen to Regina
fantastic.
George. So, yeah.
Did you see Rachel McAdams? Like, I just didn't want to do a commercial.
Yes. When that commercial came out, I was like, that's the most Regina. So she's like, I was busy. I just didn't want to do it.
Regina wouldn't be in that commercial. I don't know.
Absolutely not. I can't believe Amanda Seyfried was, to be honest, but whatever.
I could see her doing stuff for funsies.
Yeah, for funsies.
Rachel McAdams.
She's too famous for that shit. Lindsay Lohan's making her comeback, and Lacey Chabert is permanently at Hallmark Channel and will do anything right now. But
listen, the Hallmark Channel is really like, it has a very loyal fan base. Like people really.
I told Rachel this. My dad has decided Lacey Chabert is one of his like girlfriends, which is what he called like. It's just
she's very pretty.
It's just it's a tongue in cheek thing where he's like, this is somebody that I see a lot, so he like jokingly calls them girlfriends. So I was watching Mean Girls last night, and he was like, "Is that my girlfriend?" I was like, "Yeah, but she's jilting right now." So no. But
back up, Dad.
Lindsay Lohan's dad in that movie is played by our old neighbor's brother. So we know Neil Flynn. Like I've like hung out with him at my friend because they had a daughter my age. So have like seen him at birthday parties and stuff. And my dad was like, "Oh, maybe he can get me my girlfriend's autograph." I was like, "Okay."
Did your mom kill him?
No, she does not care about this.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I would kill my husband a little bit. But Lindsay Lohan is actually from Long Island, and I went to school with kids who like were friends with her because my middle school, my Catholic school was on the midway point between Queens and Long Island. So I had plenty of, that's why everyone was bitches, because I had all the Long Islands flooding in.
Yeah.
And she used to like sleep over this kid's house. Like they were family friends, whenever. He'd be like, "Yeah, Lindsay Lohan was never met." Like, I don't fucking care.
Wow.
Good for you. She's older than us. What do you want? Like by maybe a year or two, honestly. We were pretty much, oh my God. And I went on a deep dive the other day of the Lindsay Lohan, Hillary Duff beef over Aaron Carter. Oh, so fun to revisit, especially seeing like how it all ended up fucking insane. But early 2000s were a fucking time.
TikTok keeps giving me those, early 2000s. And I just watched one on Jessica Simpson and her relationship with Nick.
Yeah.
And so now I can't watch it without watching, also thinking of Love is Blind and how Vanessa's always talking about, like, I was the best second love. And I was like,
oh, Vanessa Lachey.
Oh, Vanessa. Anyway, Love is Blind season 6 and 7 comes out on Valentine's Day, Rachel. So
I didn't care enough about the last season at all. It made no waves.
The last season wasn't very good. Yeah.
I'm going to see, hopefully this new one makes waves and pisses people off, and then I'll tune in. Which I'm not paying for Netflix anymore, so you can do the math on how I'll be watching that. But if it's good, I defer to you. Because Lauren was not that into it. She was like,
I watched it and it was fine. And there was some drama and some people I really fucking hated and made me angry, but it definitely wasn't like the
not
previous
enough.
Seasons had been. Yeah.
Well, hopefully we get back to our, the heart of what it is.
They're supposedly doing Love is Blind UK, which I really want to see.
I'd love to see that. Americans totally stole the ick from the UK, like from that vernacular, because I watched Love Island and they were all always like, "Hey, what gave me the ick that he said that?" And I was like, "That's cute." And then all of a sudden on TikTok, all these American girls are like, "It will give you the ick if your boyfriend like loses in a fight. Like you can't recover from that. It just gives you the ick." So I love British shows. That's so funny. I will definitely watch that. But we're gonna keep the like good teen movies of the 2000s rolling in 2 weeks with our next episode. And
Princess Diaries. Why can't I give it away? We're promoting it.
I actually don't know. I feel like we used to not say it, and then at some point we were like, "No, we should."
We were much less confident about what was happening next.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were like, "Let's talk about Supernatural." Oh my God, what other things are out there? But yes, Princess Diaries next, which is, oh my God, you want to talk about like a defining movie?
Excited to talk about the
for my life.
Nicholas. Duke Nicholas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have never, ever sorted them in my head, even.
Neither have I.
I have no idea what any of them are.
I assume we're doing Mia and Nicholas and Queen Clarice. And probably
you have
Lily.
to, and Joe. I want to throw Joe in there.
I love Joe, and probably Lily. I know what Lily is.
Yeah, I could. Yeah. Anyway, we'll get there when we get there. But let the 2000s keep a rolling. It's 2000s January, I guess. I can't think of a cooler name.
Yeah.
It's 2024, but we refuse to accept it.
Right.
So remove the second 2, put a 0, and that's where we are right now in our lives. Okay?
When New Year's glasses were much cooler.
They were. I don't know what this bullshit is. So I refuse to even buy them this year. They're fucking stupid. But Happy New Year. We're past that. That already happened. Everyone already had us.
New Year yesterday. Yep.
Happy New Year. We will see you next time.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Sort of Brilliant. If our sorting choices inspired any rage or excitement, we'd love to hear from you. We're open to feedback, suggestions for characters to sort, and solid counter-arguments with citations.
Never forget your citations. You can find us hanging out on Twitter and Instagram at SOB_pod or shoot us an email at sortofbrilliant@gmail.com.
And since we're not above begging, please rate and subscribe to Sort of Brilliant on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you listen to podcasts. Please share our posts on social media. And if you're a Gryffindor, maybe you'll inspire sorting fights among your own friend group.
The theme music is Hot Shot by Scott Holmes. Can't wait to sort with you again next time. Bye!